Hello, my friends. How are you today? Okay, today we are going to be reading a story out of, it is a book of tales from Spanish New Mexico, and they're retold by Joe Hayes with illustrations by Lucy Jelinek. This particular story today is called The Day It Snowed Tortillas. So, a little bit about this story. Oh, welcome to My Stories with Kelli, by the way. Hi, Heather and Jeremy and Sarah. Thanks for watching today, you guys. Hi, Miss Karen. Welcome back. So a little bit about this. I volunteer quite a bit at Theater Lawrence. And Miss Haley, who is the director of the youth education program, the youth theater program, we were talking about some ideas to help keep everybody engaged during our time away. And so she knew that I was reading stories, and I said, well, I'd love to read stories for you to use for Theater Lawrence. So she brought over some books that are very special to her and books that she likes to use over in the youth program. The other day we read a story called Socks for Supper. And she put together some activities to go along with that. And if you would like to participate in that, I recommend hopping on over to Theater Lawrence's website, theaterlawrence.com. And that's theater, Theatre, sorry, theaterlawrence.com. And ask to subscribe to their youth distance theater email blast. So this you will see in their email blast. Possibly the last one, the Socks for Supper, was in the last one. So there are some activities that are sort of associated with that. And it's just a little extra fun to have. So today we're going to read the first in this collection of stories. And it is called The Day It Snowed Tortillas. Okay, are you ready? Now, there aren't a lot of pictures, but it's kind of a funny story. Okay, here we go. The Day It Snowed Tortillas. Here is a story about a poor woodcutter. He was very good at his work. He could swing his axe powerfully and cut down big trees. He could split them up into firewood and sell them in the village. He made a good living, but the poor man was not well educated. He couldn't read or write. He wasn't very bright either. He was always doing foolish things, but he was lucky. He had a very clever wife, and she would get him out of trouble. One day he was working far off in the mountains, and when he started home at the end of the day, he saw 3 leather bags by the side of the trail. He picked up the first bag and discovered that it was full of gold coins. He looked into the second. It was full of gold coins too, and so was the third. He loaded the bags onto his donkey and took them home to show his wife. She was aghast. Don't tell anyone you found this gold, she warned him. It must belong to some robbers who have hidden it out in the mountains. If they find out we have it, they'll kill us to get it back. But then she thought, my husband, he can never keep a secret. What shall I do? She came up with a plan. She told her husband, before you do anything else, go into the village, get me a sack of flour. I need a big sack. Bring me 100 pounds of flour. The man went off to the village, grumbling to himself, ugh, all day I work in the mountains, and now I have to drag home 100 pounds of flour. I'm tired of all this work. But he bought the flour and brought it home to his wife. Thank you, she told him. Now you've been working awfully hard. Why don't you go lie down for a while? He liked that idea. He lay down on the bed and soon fell fast asleep. As soon as her husband began to snore, the woman went to work. She began to make tortillas. She made batch after batch of tortillas. She made them until the stack reached clear to the ceiling in the kitchen. She turned that whole 100 pounds of flour into tortillas. Then she took them outside and threw them all over the ground. The woodcutter was so tired he slept all that evening and on through the night. He didn't wake up until morning. When he woke, he stepped outside and saw the ground was covered with tortillas. He called his wife. "What's the meaning of this?" he asked. His wife joined him at the door. "Oh my goodness! It must have snowed tortillas last night." "Snowed tortillas? I've never heard of such a thing." "What? You've never heard of it snowing tortillas? Well, you're not very well educated. You'd better go to school and learn something." So she packed him a lunch and dressed him up and made him go off to school. He didn't know how to read or write, so they put him in the first grade. He had to squeeze into one of the little chairs the children sat in. The teacher asked him questions, and the children raised their hands enthusiastically. He didn't know the answers to any of those questions. He grew more and more embarrassed. Then he had to go to the blackboard and write. He didn't even know the alphabet. The little boy beside him began to write his name on the board, and the woodcutter tried to copy the boy's letters. When the other children saw the man writing the boy's name instead of his own, they began to laugh at him. He couldn't stand it any longer. He stomped out of the school and hurried home. He seized his axe. "I've had enough education," he told his wife. "I'm going to cut firewood." "Fine," she called after him. "You go do your work." About a week later, just as the woman had suspected, the robbers showed up at the house one day. "Where is that gold your husband found?" they demanded. The woman acted innocent. "Gold? She shook her head. "I don't know anything about any gold." "Come on," the robber said. "Your husband's been telling everyone in the village he found 3 sacks of gold. They belong to us. You'd better give them back." She looked disgusted. "Did my husband say that? Oh, that man. He says the strangest things. I don't know anything about your gold." "That's a likely story. We'll find out. We'll wait here until he comes home." So the robbers waited around all day, sharpening their knives and cleaning their pistols. Toward evening, the woodcutter came up the trail with his donkey. The robbers ran out and grabbed him roughly. "Where's the gold you found?" The woodcutter scratched his head. "Gold?" he mumbled. Oh, yes. I remember. My wife hid it." He called out, "Wife, what did you do with that gold?" His wife sounded puzzled. "What gold? I don't know what you're talking about." "Sure you do. Don't you remember? It was the day before it snowed tortillas. I came home with 3 bags of gold, and in the morning you sent me to school." The robbers looked at one another. "Did he say snowed tortillas?" they whispered. "She sent him to school?" They shook their heads in dismay. Why did you waste our time with this numbskull? He's out of his head." And they went away thinking the woodcutter was crazy and had just been talking a lot of nonsense. From that day on, it didn't really matter whether he was well educated or clever. It didn't even matter if he was a good woodcutter, for he was a rich man. He and his wife and those 3 sacks of gold all to themselves. And the robbers, they never came back. That was the day it snowed tortillas. What did you guys think of that? It's one of a lot of stories. There are a lot of stories in here. But this is, again, we read The Day It Snowed Tortillas, Tales from Spanish New Mexico, and they're retold by Joe Hayes with illustrations by Lucy Jelinek. So that is what we read today. What did you guys think? I thought it was pretty funny. Would you believe that it snowed tortillas? If somebody told you that? Even if you came outside and there were tortillas all over the ground, would you still believe that? I don't know if I would believe that. I hope you enjoyed this book today. And I hope that you will go to Theater Lawrence's website and sign up to receive not only their youth distance theater email blast, but also their adult. I say adult like it's only for grown-ups, but their distance theater, and then also their youth theater, distance theater. So I hope you'll sign up for that email blast and maybe even consider contributing. Okay, so tomorrow at 3:30, we will either be reading The Berenstain's Bear and the Spooky Old Tree. This book I think was my little brother's, because I think mine got ruined in a flood. But this book, I read this book so much when I was a kid, like all the time. I loved the pictures here. Some of the pictures, I won't show you too many pictures in case you have not read it. I don't want to give it all away. But I loved the pictures. I thought they were so cool. And of course I loved the Berenstain Bears. So this is a Berenstain Bears book. So the Berenstain Bears and the Spooky Old Tree is what we'll be reading tomorrow. And it is written by Stan and Jan Berenstain. So we'll be reading either that or Amelia Bedelia for Mayor by Herman Parrish. So you guys get to pick. Would you like to hear the Spooky Old Tree or Amelia Bedelia for Mayor? So those are the books we'll be choosing from for tomorrow, and I will put those pictures up in my stories so you can vote. Okay? Spooky Tree. Jeremy says Spooky Tree. Hi, Jeremy. Thanks for joining today. And Jake, you're back. Hi, good to see you. And Stacy and Katie. Katie and I went to high school and to college together. She's a fantastic music teacher and a fantastic musician. And she has a beautiful voice. So hi, Katie. And Todd and Allison and Chris, thanks for joining today. At 4 o'clock, which is in about 15 minutes, we are going to venture into the world of Harry Potter and read some more of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. We are entering chapter 16. You guys, folks, friends, chapter 16 and then chapter 17 will be done with this book in no time. Gosh, what's today? Today's Thursday, right? Yes, today's Thursday. And tomorrow will be Friday. So we will be finishing this book this week. And then on Monday, we'll come back with a new one. I already have some votes for the next Harry Potter book. Think about that. You let me know. If you want to keep reading Harry Potter, then we will read Harry Potter. The next book after this one is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Birdie, my daughter, and I just finished reading that one together. But I will happily read that one to you. So if you want to continue reading Harry Potter, let me know over the next couple of days, okay? All right, I'm going to hop off of here, and I will be back at 4 o'clock to read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling, chapter 16. We're getting so close to the end. Ooh, we get to see what's under the trap door today. Okay, I will see you soon.